Well, and I also want to kind of expose the story for Paula and Al in terms of, like, again, the kind of the unlikeliness of this. I'm not sure where to start here. Actually, let's just start with you. I think it was like you sleeping under a table at Sundance.
Yeah, well, me and Ad had been shooting for about 3 years, and Clark would talk to me about when you hit a wall, you just have to start asking questions, like ballistically asking questions to try and get around it. And so we just started really asking questions of people, like what should we do, trying to find some film people that knew what we should do, and it just kept popping up that we should try and find a producer. And but we were in
because you hadn't noticed that might be a good idea for it.
Well, we were so busy running and shooting that, like, any post-production stuff was totally not on our radar. We were so busy with trying to, because Clark had been sick, and so I sold a surfboard and got a plane ticket to go to Sundance, and I just figured there'd be producers at Sundance.
Nothing conventional about this movie.
And so I just walked up and down that street in
Main Street, yeah.
Main Street, and just was trying to talk to people and pitching the film pretty much, and
just what was the reaction of most people to it? I mean,
there was some people that were interested in it, but I could tell that they didn't. It wasn't for the right reasons. But at that point, we'd shot a lot of footage and we had a good story together. But I was showing raw footage to people, so I hadn't cut the trailer yet. And but then I went to the Chasing Ice premiere, which Paula was the producer on, and I just saw Paula and had that feeling just that gut feeling of, like, that is the right person, and I've got to try and find a way to get to that person. And I ended up getting her phone number and calling her about 15 times during that week. And she was really busy because they were trying to sell a movie. But she ended up, I cut a trailer and sent it to her, and she called me at, I think, like 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And and it was the best because in the theme of the movie, Paula took us in. I called Ad, who was in Australia, and said, "Mate, there's this producer that's interested, and can you come over?" And he jumped on a flight that day, and we drove out to Colorado, and then we ended up living with Paula in Boulder. And
I mean, Paula, it's like, how many? I mean, it's like because frankly, you must get hit up on some level like this with some frequency in terms of, because there's a lot of people who want a competent, strong producer to be able to, help shepherd their film through. What did you see here that made them different?
I'm listening to this story and I'm thinking, what was I thinking? No. I was so in love with this story. The minute I saw some of the footage, I just kept watching and texted out, "Let's talk." And I was just so connected immediately to the heart and soul of Clark and Justin and Gwen, and just the whole idea of mentoring was really inspiring to me. And then when I started talking with Alan, getting to know Alan, and they did come and live with me and my husband and my children in our basement for a while. They're still in Colorado. It's been a couple years. And it was just, as humble as Al is, he's very hardworking and dedicated, and he devoured film. Like, he wanted to learn everything that he needed to know to do a good job with the film. He was so dedicated and hardworking. Basically slept in the editing room so many nights and would get ready for the editor the next morning to be prepared. So, he just was such an eager student, I guess, is the approach that he took to it, and he wanted to do such a good job out of respect to Clark and wanting to tell Clark's story in just a meaningful way. It was just a beautiful project to be a part of, and I just couldn't imagine saying no. The minute I saw the footage, I was just like, I told my husband, "Don't worry, I'm not going to do this film. I'm just going to help these guys." And that's how we got into it. And before I knew it, we were knee deep into it. But it was just so, I feel so blessed, that he called and asked me to be a part of it.